It's great lucky. It's not.
I don't think this.
I will call to order this Permanent Valley Utility and Services meeting for October 13th. And we would like to recognize that we are meeting on the unceded and traditional territory of the Lillooet Nation. Any changes to the agenda? Motion to approve. Director Max, Director Zant, any opposed? Motion carries. We don't have a closed meeting. No rise with report. Anybody want to pull anything out of the consent agenda? Seeing none. Presented Director Zant, seconded by Director Mack. Any opposed? Motion carries. Any business arising? None. Gonna go slowly. This hand gets here. I will go to 7.1 SLRD CA overall update.
1 point, Mr. Chair, the Pemberton transfer station is on track to be fully operational on November 2nd. The new site. Well, there's no official ribbon cutting type of a ceremony planned. Staff would like to invite committee members and anybody else that would like to attend at 11 a.m. on the 2nd. There'll be an opportunity to meet the new contractors and tour the site. So 11 a.m. on November 2nd.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
That's it.
Thank you. Any questions? No receipt. Director Zant, second by Director Mack. Any opposed? Motion carries. What's the, I don't know if you know this level of detail. I'm just kind of curious because it looks like they're excavation, sort of renewed excavation connecting services. I was just surprised it was getting done at this stage.
Oh, not sure. Yeah.
I just rolled by it. 7.2 Village of Pemberton CAO overall update. Ms. Tracy.
So I just wanted to raise awareness to the committee that there's going to be a slight change over in the area around the community center. So a number of years back, the SLRD applied for a grant with the Blackcomb Foundation for the nature play structure, which sits directly adjacent to the daycare. Earlier this year, the village received a grant for a daycare expansion, and due to the expansion of the daycare, it has been identified that the nature play will need to be relocated. So we have identified a new space for the relocation, and I have a little map here that I can share.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. So currently it's right in front of the existing daycare facility, and the proposed location for the move would be down in the lower right hand corner of your map there. So on the edges of the Great Lawn in proximity to the spray park. So I just want to make sure the committee was aware of this before we started to do broader communications.
No, that's good.
Any questions?
You mentioned that the funding to move it should be hopefully captured within the grant or the development of the new spaces.
Sorry, one question, sure. I'm just curious. So you said we have to give money back to them.
Oh, no. Within 5 years of the construction of a project or a purchase stemming from a Whistleback Foundation grant, you do have to notify them. So the Whistleback Foundation has been notified of the relocation and has received a map of this nature and the reasons why it needs to be moved. But beyond that, there's no changes to the plan.
We don't have any issues with that there.
May has not responded yet, but it literally is just a notification that there's going to be a change.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Further questions? Motion to receive. And that's it.
Yeah.
Motion received.
Sorry, I'm late.
All good. Seconded by Director Mack. Any opposed? Motion carries. Chance to settle in. We're on 7.3 on the agenda. Director Kennett.
Thank you. My apologies, Chair.
Sounds good. So yeah, we're on 7.3, which is the recreation third quarter report.
Yes, Mr.
Burns. We're getting better at the same time. I like this feature, by the way. Oh, there she is. Good afternoon, good afternoon, Ms. Burns, for joining us. It was yours when you're ready.
Oh, mine. Okay, sorry.
So, yeah, we were already on to 7.3, so we're on the recreation third quarter report. If you need a second, settle in. And we're happy to hear from you.
Okay, my apologies. Working from home, head cold. I guess highlights from third quarter for recreation basically include the transition to biannual program planning, and I think we are at a point where I can stop talking about it and sharing that we've made that transition. Staff had a pretty successful summer with registration occurring in March, and then program plan for fall winter this summer as well, and fall winter registration began in the middle of August. I think it went super smoothly as well, so we're pretty excited about all of those things. The third quarter was the very first quarter since I guess first quarter of 2020 that we weren't being governed by any public health orders at all. So that was kind of exciting. And as a result, we maintained our hours for operations all through the summer. And then right after Labor Day weekend, we increased our hours to include Monday mornings and added an hour of operations Monday through Friday in the evenings for fitness center use, as well as user groups to expand their programming as well. That's gone off without a hitch as well, other than I think, we're working proactively with our cleaning contractors as they start to see an increase of use in the facility that they haven't experienced before. Highlights from the facility maintenance perspective, I think, would be the install of the accessible doors on the south side of the facility, as well as the library, and then the painting of the lobby entrance. So I think that's probably our highlight from the summer. And then obviously on everyone's mind is the basketball court. I think I'm very happy to say that is nearing its completion for 2022. We are still, I'm still waiting to hear from the supplier for the basketball nets themselves. He did say last week that they'd gone to the millwrights in order to curve the steel. So they actually had the steel posts that are coming to us, but where that falls in the queue of manufacturing, I'm not 100% sure. I am hopeful for delivery. I was hopeful for delivery this week, but I haven't heard anything. So I anticipate next week for that. We've put a deposit down for the surface, and I will book that as soon as Tomco is willing to have the conversation about weather and when it would be appropriate to get that installed next year, as well as obviously have a budget conversation. Open to questions from there.
Ms. Burns, any questions?
Hi, Ms. Burns. Thank you for coming in on, or at least calling in on a sick day. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
I'm just curious about I was happy to see that the accessible doors were installed in the library. I know the library board is really excited about that. I stepped in there on a weekend when the community center was closed, so they were happy to see me. My one question is referring to the accessible ramp. Has there been an update on the ramp that will be at the front of the building?
Yeah, so that one has fallen. That is library money. that Emma received. So we have been collaborating and working together. We received a great draft from Tom Barrett Designs on what the project would need to look like and what that price point would be. And so the library has recently applied for a Whistler Blackcomb Foundation grant to hopefully top up the remaining 75,000 that she has left to spend. And she's confirmed that that money is hers until she spends it, and there's no time limit. So we've got some time on our side to review that project for sure.
Thank you very much.
No problem, my pleasure.
Christine, I just have here on the with the natural play park and so on. I didn't realize that that's going to get moved and there's an expansion of the daycare, is there? I mean, I haven't been up to date on that, so I'm just wondering what all that entails.
So
With just moving the whole
we'll go
park and
back-
everything, or?
we'll go back to CEO Chasey.
Oh, I missed this part.
Yeah.
I got the memo now, thank you.
We can answer a couple quick questions or help fill you in after, but it's basically, yeah, with the expansion of the new childcare spaces, we need to move that play space, what's it called?
The structure, the nature of
The
play.
nature play.
The whole thing, or?
So it's gonna go down in the right corner, see the pink? part?
Yeah.
That's where it's gonna get moved to.
Wow.
Through the chair, yes, so the structure itself, the whole thing does need to be moved because it actually is, you cannot have one piece without the other. It's intended to have a specific flow to it. So yeah, the entire structure will need to be relocated to that little kidney shaped zone that you see down there on the right hand side.
Right.
I like to refer to it as an ear so that when we get the drone shot from above, when it's all complete, we can say we're listening. If that helps.
I'm good with that. Yeah, no worries.
I guess there's gonna be budgets coming and all of that and what the cost of that's gonna be.
We believe that with the daycare grant that that will be absorbed out of contingency. So
Oh, okay.
we're hoping that we will not have to bring anything back to you all. So it's just letting you know that it is going to be relocated.
That's an option then. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions from Ms. Burns? That time of year, Ms. Burns, how are we looking at the high school? The gym is getting used next to none in the evenings, I might know for a fact. So what are those conversations?
Those conversations are in motion. The school district has definitely let us know that they would like Pemberton to function in their space, similarly to how they function when their space is used in the other corridor schools. So that means we will be incurring more costs, and our time has been super limited based on the school's wishes to maintain the use of their space and save their space for their students first.
Okay.
So
A bit of a struggle with that, just to let you know, because for years it's been very casual. Money has been going through, there's always a caretaker there. People use the gym and then they leave the gym. And there's nothing required besides locking a door. So why we have to complicate this, incur more costs, and in the meantime, sacrifice those services, I'm not too sure. And I'm not, this isn't directed at you, this is just a frustration that this is where the conversation's gone.
yeah,
I struggle with it on principle. There's a gym there that's available to the community, but the community can't use it. You know, we pay fees into the elementary school for a community school that we get no use for. And yet we're being thrown roadblocks from the school district. So
The fact is, we as taxpayers own the damn building.
yeah.
They manage it for us.
Okay, well, thanks for the update. Hopefully the conversation will progress. Yeah. I'll leave it at that.
yeah,
Thank you.
we're just jumping through hoops, so to speak, to make it work. And we're grateful, very much grateful for the fabulous fall that we've had right now. And people have been outside, but we are anticipating, we're hoping for an early November start with some drop-in sports at the high school.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. My pleasure.
Yeah, well, question just in general. So the the gym at Signal Hill, there was a lot of money put in, like 250,000 when that was built, with the kitchen and all that stuff with it. It's supposed to be a community kitchen. Now it's just a storage space. Why don't we pressure the school board to live up to the sort of the letter of the contract? The taxpayers put a lot of money into that building and we are not allowed to use it, never have been. I remember we tried to, well, we did use it one time when we had a ball tournament there. And that was a challenge. I mean, it was, you had to take your shoes off to go in the gym. I mean, it was just.
I know the karate club uses the storage. There is some use of the storage space, but
it's minimal.
So I think it's the music room too, isn't it? I don't know if anybody else, you know.
Well, it was supposed to be.
Parties contract. So originally there was money, as Zach was saying, was invested because it was built as a Signal Hill was built as a community school. And as part of that, we were to have use of the storage, the kitchen, and maybe the music room. The storage we have use of, the kitchen, I'm not too sure. I think it's pretty spotty. But it's all pretty minimal, and it's not. It wasn't just a one-time payment. We continue to pay into that, and that's why my frustration is: if that's the case, why are we being thrown hoops and being, making more complicated on the other side? I mean, it should be an easy conversation for our. Maybe
the people that are there now. School district.
Yeah, it might be more of a political conversation.
Maybe they don't know the history of this.
If I may interject, I'm quite familiar with community school use agreements, and I haven't actually seen one. So I'm not sure if there's one somewhere that I'm just not aware that it exists.
It's not for PSS, it's for Signal Hill.
Right. So I haven't seen one for Signal Hill either. So, I mean, I'll do some more research and I'll do some more digging. And if that's the case, I think the dilemma being for adult sports, the gym at Signal Hill is an elementary school sized gym. So it doesn't provide the same setup. But if there's a school use agreement out there from when that facility was built, I'll hunt it down for you.
I appreciate that. And you're right, that gym's too small for adult sports. But I reference it mostly because it seems to me, in the spirit of all that, let us into the other gym when it's empty to play, for God's sake. So anyway, thank you for your update. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
If I can remember correctly, I think we're going back in the archives quite a while, but it would be sort of maybe in the 90s. That would, it's quite a ways, it's quite a while back. So yeah. I think we have to do some forensic digging.
Miss Fraser, our VOP encyclopedia would probably be a historian, would probably be able to lead us right to it.
That money, the initial money, came from the Miller Creek Power Project.
Is that right?
Yeah. So you can figure out the time frame when that was put in, mid to late 90s, I think, but in that time. But absolutely, Sheena would know where it's hiding.
It would also have aligned with the RMOW taking over operating recreation in Pemberton out of the old school as well. So I may be able to dig something up from the RMOW as well, because I would think that Bob Cush might have had something to do with that potentially as well.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Yes, do we need a motion to receive and then
motion receive, yeah.
And then motion receive.
Second, any opposed, motion carries.
And we need a second motion for Ms. Burns to follow up on that or staff?
No.
Staff help perhaps?
Do you want a motion to support that work in case you're talking to the school district? You want a motion from the committee so that you have that? Would you like that?
Yeah, sure, that would be helpful. It definitely expedites responses.
Okay, great. Good idea, Director. Motion to direct staff to work with the school district on getting adult sports in the PSS gym and looking into the community school agreement. Director Zan, seconded by Director Mack. Any opposed? Motion carries. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Burns. Next, we're on to 7.4. This. Second quarter financials. Ms. LaFrance, good afternoon.
Hello, yeah, I'm Suzanne LaFrance, Director of Finance, and before you is the second quarter financials for the PVUS services. Nothing major to report out of these. The only concern I have is the permanent refuse grounds for a couple of reasons. There is less tipping fee revenue this year than normal. So the budget was based on 2 years average tipping fees. And that's annual, but somehow this year it's being less used and potentially could be 15,000 to 20,000 less revenue this year than budget. The other issue is time allocation expense, which is really high compared to budget. So far, year to date, it's $15,000 over. And that's because of the new transfer station and the amount of time spent on that project. There could be some savings, however, so it's a little early to state that there definitely will be a deficit carry forward. There could be savings in contract services. There's still potential for a lot of other expenses not to materialize until next year as well. So those expenses being service site maintenance. We had a lot of operating supplies in there as well. Most things will be actually expensed as the fixed asset. So we should see some savings as well. So I'm keeping an eye out and hoping for the best. Any questions from the committee?
Questions? All right, well, thank you for the update. Motion to receive. Director Zan, second by Director Mack. Any opposed? Motion carries. And where's it? Are we on 8 already? Decision on late business. We have no late business. Director's notice of motion. Motion to adjourn. Actually, before we go, some of us, at least one of us, won't be here. It's Director Zan's last PVUS meeting, so just recognizing your work with us.
That's right.
And appreciate it. I don't know if you have any last direction for the committee.
Not action, but just I wanted to say thanks to everyone that's been here.
Thank you.
It's been a great 4 years. I've enjoyed the time here sitting down with the staff, the directors, everybody here. Miss Tracy, I can tell you're going to do a great job here. So representing the village. So thank you for taking this on. And just a big thanks to everybody for everything I've learned. It's been a great experience. I will definitely want to do this again. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
And motion to adjourn. Max, seconded by Director Zan. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, everyone.